Whatever path you are on, whatever inspired you to come here today, we honor you and we welcome you. And now, our message.
And if you could just take a nice deep breath and close your eyes and join with me as we focus on one power. One power, one presence, one creative energy that each and every one of us in this room is made of, uses and is. As we embrace this new year, we embrace this one power. We recognize and see the love within us and within every single person we encounter. We embrace the message we hear today about how this one power works, about utilizing it in our life for all good, for peace, for love, for harmony, for all those things that each and every one of us desires, for the fulfillment of the life of our dreams. We open our hearts and minds for the message today, knowing that as we learn and embrace and practice this sense of one power, this being of love, this acceptance of all, as we walk through our days, we bring peace everywhere we go. Peace and love and light. We embrace 2016 with great joy and with the wisdom that lies within. And we say, thank you, God. And so it is.
Okay, well, good. We're here, 2016. We made it. I don't know, it had something very significant for me, and just saying 2016 was I don't know why more this year than any year, because I go back a ways, and I was recalling, I remember going when I was very young, and one of the early books that I read in school was 1984. George Orwell. Futuristic book. It was kind of scary. It was Big Brother. It was a lot of things that brought to mind when we were young, and I thought, 1984, that was so far in the future, I might not ever even make it there. So, but made it to 1984. And not too long after that, we started, I worked in computers and electronics, and we started having the big scare of 2K, 2000. Oh my gosh, when it turns over, the computers are going to be lost. They won't know what day it is. They'll dump all their information. We'll just be done for. But we got through the year 2000. We made it through there. One of my favorite movies or books and everything was Space Odyssey, 2001. So. 2001, and then they came out with 2010. Oh my gosh, it was just almost too much for me.
And then the song 2525.
Oh, 2525, that was in, yes, I was in college.
It's still out there.
That's still coming, so. You know, not too long ago, we had the Mayan calendar was going to end in 2012. They probably just ran out of paper, but that was the end. That was the end of their calendar. The world was going to end, but we made it through 2012. And I was thinking it was even the Terminator, the coming of the robots. You know when that was supposed to happen? You go back into the movie and you review that. 1997.
Oh, really?
Oh,
my gosh.
How futuristic. And
we can't remember that far.
That's like, golly, so far. So I don't even want to get into the Jetsons and my flying car. I just never got my flying car yet. But we made it through all of that. And I'm happy to be here with you now, and it's comforting to have you here with me. Now I'm having a little fun with all of that and playing a little bit on the movie references, but I thought, really, don't we tend to do that? Don't we tend to go to this fantastic place, to almost the negative place, to the thought of bad or terrible or what's going to fall apart or what's going to happen, and then we stay there too long. We stay in that fantastic negativity for too long. Rather than creating a life out of love and creativity, rather than fear and doubt. Now, as with most New Year's, our meditation this morning was, about releasing and letting go. So we'd gone through that, and it's about that. And for us, it's about beginning anew. And we start with the first 4 chapters in the books by Ernest Holmes, in The Science of Mind. Now, Ernest Holmes was the founder, basically, of Science of Mind, religious science teachings. He was born in, Kelly would know exactly, it would be 1887 or something. And he was writing books and teaching, and then 1918, I think, was his first book that he published. And like that, long time ago. So it's kind of like almost ancient wisdom to us. But it's still here, it's very true. So we go back and we review the beginning of his book. He started off his book with the thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. First 4 chapters in that book. This is about life. See, he wasn't beginning with teaching starting a church. Ernest Holmes was teaching about a way of life. He was teaching about philosophy, not a religion. But the first 4 chapters in his book were those things. It was the thing itself, God. The way it works was the law. What it does is creation. And how to use it is about co-creation. Now, I had a thought, and I believe we are entering into a new age, and we probably are already there in our evolutionary state. A new phase. And it has more to do with our consciousness than with our physicality. An age of awareness and about our unity with all of life, with everything, all people, all things, the entire cosmos. People say we are stardust. We are made up of the things that were flying around in the sky billions of years ago. And here we are. Part of the whole, part of the one power, like in the song. Many, many, many years ago, I think we spent our time trying to survive the saber-toothed tiger, or trying to survive through the winter. And it was a very physical way of being, of understanding life. And that's what we're growing away from. Those are no longer our real issues in life. And we're going back to what I think the ancient wisdom teachers were teaching about. And they were talking about going within. And that was the real power of the universe. About introspection, about self-realization, about personal and spiritual quests. Now for me, my path began some 30 years ago in religious science and science of mind teaching. Now, on one level, it was a teaching, a realization about how we are all the same around the world. And with modern technology, we now have the ability to talk with someone, to actually see somebody 10,000 miles away, doing exactly the same thing that we're doing. Preparing a meal, time with their family. We get to talk to them, to see them, to actually interact with them. Caring for their children. They're no different. We can make a personal, emotional connection with people. in Europe, in Asia, in anywhere in the world. And all they want is what we want. To know love, to care for our children, to know safety for the family. Now on another level, you think about the New Age and consciousness and awareness. And as I look around, as I read, as I study, I see that more and more religions are considering now more than ever the similarities between them, not the differences. They're all considering this thing about oneness. Oneness of the universe, of God, of each of us. And science is proving it too, proving the connectedness of all things. And you see all of that stuff, that's still all physical stuff. Math, science, it's physical. It's provable, demonstrating. But that other level that we're talking about, that spirit, that consciousness, the place of metaphysics beyond the physical, that God stuff, that's consciousness, that's on a non-physical level. And how do you prove love? How do you prove intuition? Your own inner desires. Is there proof of that? How about creation itself? Now I assume that most of us here are here at this time because we're all investigating our new thoughts a little bit, our consciousness, our awareness, our introspection, our own growth. This thing called science of mind and how we fit into the world. You know, I mentioned Ernest Holmes a little bit ago in the first 4 chapters, the foundations of this teaching. And they weren't just his thoughts. Ernest did a lot of studying too, and he did a lot of travel, a lot of reading. He used works from Troward, or Troward, however you pronounce that properly. Emerson, Quimby, Jesus, Buddha, Lao Tzu. He studied all of that. But the first chapter, that is mostly what today is about, the first chapter, and that is the thing itself. And he described the thing itself. It is the creative power behind all things. Call it source, universal intelligence, spirit. We just went to see the movie Star Wars. Call it the Force. Or call it God. It is the first cause, the cause of all that is manifest, including you and me, including math, all that is manifest, that which came first. And it's not out there somewhere. I grew up thinking God was that old man sitting in a cloud, had the beard, and was passing out judgment. That's what I grew up with. And I think we have learned so much more. We have expanded our consciousness and our awareness so much that we're beyond that. Our understanding is so much more. And we're now, like I said earlier, looking where the ancients looked, within, to the inner source, the inner power. The original understanding of where heaven existed was within. Now we've put our limits on this creative source, on God, because we had thoughts of forever and limitlessness, of boundless energy. And it boggled the mind. It's hard to think of forever and ever, and then what's beyond that? How could God, how could anything be at the center and at the circumference at the same time. It boggles the mind. We just couldn't handle it. That was beyond our mental boundaries. And I read something recently that Deepak Chopra had said about boundaries. He said, we as humans set up boundaries to define us and protect us. And a belief system is a boundary. Now I have a fear of heights. And I had said not too long ago, I believe that I can't sing. Someone had corrected me and said, you can sing. Don't say you can't sing. And I had to agree. Maybe not well. But those are boundaries. It's a belief system. The limits we all put on God are based on a particular belief system. Right and wrong doesn't matter, has nothing to do with it. Deepak also said to touch the soul, you only need to be interested and pay attention. That's it. Be interested, pay attention. Now time and knowledge and science have helped us to unravel some things and some beliefs and some boundaries a little bit. 2,000 years ago, the only literate people, the only people that could read some of the writings and talk to the masses were the ministers. They were the most literate in the group. That may not be true anymore. And that's probably good news. See, this concept of one, everything and one thing, everywhere and right here, all knowing and still learning. Creation, manifestation, the thing itself. You see, I believe that creative intelligence is out there, in here, in me, as me, in you, as you. It's an energy. I like to call it God. It doesn't matter. They're just words. Einstein said something that I've always liked. I keep it printed out. It says, Einstein said, I believe in Spinoza's God. A God that reveals itself in the orderly harmony of what exists. I believe in God the Creator of all things, the cause of everything. First cause, Science of Mind textbook had said that which is the cause of all things, the uncreated from which creation springs, the cause of all that is manifest on any plane, that which comes first. Now, I also think of first cause as something I had heard a long time ago called love energy. The energy that all things are made from. What we are in our essence from the beginning. The love energy. Before you were you were that. That energy made manifest, made real. So sometimes I want to ask you just to keep an open mind about the divine presence, the universal intelligence that is creating and manifesting all the time. And that within each of us is a conscious and a subjective mind. And that the power of thought, that energy is our connection to the whole. It is how we create or how we co-create our life experiences. The subjective in our mind is that part set in motion as a creative thing by the conscious state. And the subjective acts upon our thoughts. It is a mental law of our being, and a creative factor within us. I want to take just a couple of minutes and I want to read out of the Science of Mind book about this thing itself. And in that chapter he wrote this little bit about the road to freedom is not mysterious. Experience has taught us that the subjective tendency of this intelligent law of creative force may consciously be directed and definitely used. This is the greatest discovery of all time. There is no mystery here, but a profound fact and a demonstrable one. The road to freedom lies not through mysteries or occult performances, but through the intelligent use of nature's forces and laws. The law of mind is a natural law in the spiritual world. What do we mean by a spiritual world? We mean the word of conscious intelligence. The subjective is a world of law and of mechanical order. In our lives, it is largely a reaction, an effect, a way. I interject that you think when he's talking about the mechanical law, he's talking about things like gravity. And there are spiritual laws too. And if we, in our mental capacity, can use them, we can create. It is never a person, though it often appears to act as though it were one. Right here, many are misled, mistaking subjective impulses for actual personalities. The simplest way to state the proposition is to say that we have a conscious mind that operates within a subjective field, which is creative. The conscious mind of spirit, the subjective mind is law. One is the complement of the other. And no real individuality could be expressed without the combination of both. We need not ask why these things are so. There can be no reason given as to why. Truth is true. Laws, we do not create laws and principles, but discover and make use of them. Let us accept this position relative to the laws of mind and spirit and see what we can do with them, rather than how we may contradict the inevitable. Our mind and spirit is the echo of the eternal thing itself. The universe is filled with spirit and filled with law. One reacts to the other. We are spirit and we are law. The law of our life reacts to our spiritual or material concepts and builds and rebuilds according to our beliefs and faith. It's really almost a whole other talk there, just to touch on that, according to our beliefs and faiths. As you create, sometimes we think you create, just have a thought and that's what I want to create. Why am I not creating that all the time? I had that. You say thoughts are things. But it is more than that. There is a certain amount of emotion, of an energy, of conscious thought, subjective law, and the power emoted from your emotions that propels thought energy. And if you truly believe, you have a thought as I want more love in my life, but I'm not worthy, there's a contradiction there, and that's why, in short, some of those things take a while to manifest. And that is my talk for today. We will remind you that is what we're going to delve into in the classes that are coming up, into the foundations classes. So if you're interested, please pursue that. I say, and so the lesson begins. And we close in a prayer. We're going to close in prayer, and then we're going to do our offering. Closing in prayer, just close your eyes for a moment and just realize the oneness of all the universe. And if you know the science of this, you know of string theories of things that say atoms, electrons, molecules are not separated truly ever. They are connected, though they might be hundreds of miles apart. We are made up of electrons. We're energy. We are space. We are stardust. And we are one. And in that place of understanding, in that knowingness of our connectedness to God, to Source, to each other, we know that we create our own life expression, our own experiences, our own thoughts, our own beingness. May we today, in this 2016, realize that we are creating a wonderful life. That at our essence, we are love energy. That is our true being. That is what we are. Love energy. And the more we experience that, the more we acknowledge that, the more we see that is who we truly are, the more of it we receive in our lives. When you turn that balance over to love energy, you turn over the experiences attracted to you, drawn to you, like magnetism, like gravity. The laws of the universe cannot help but react. There is a response to your emotional output, to your energetic output. The thing itself responds through the law to create in this physical plane. I look forward to 2016, and I know it is a beautiful year. Enlightened, loving, more kind, more gentle, more peaceful than ever before. I take all of this and I hold it in gratitude. I say thank you. I have received the gift already. And I release it into the energy to grow and to multiply and return to us all, multiplied abundantly. I release and I let go, and so it is. I would like to invite the ushers to
Thank you for blessing us with your presence today and being a part of the Satya Center. You're invited to join Reverend Ali and Reverend Lyle each Sunday morning at 10 a.m. for your dose of connection, inspiration, and co-creation. The Satya Center is located at 795 24th Street, Ogden, Utah. For directions, a map, and our service times, please see our website, thesatyacenter.org. This program was brought to you by the kind donations from the members of the Satya Center. Thank you.